Bitcoin to $1 million in 90 days? Question everything. Trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Welcome, everybody. It is a beautiful Monday here in gloomy Columbus, Ohio. Hopefully, everybody is doing really well. It's time for some TA Monday around the charts. We're going to be doing this Monday and Thursdays, so strap in. Monday is going to be more altcoin centric. Thursday is going to be more macro Bitcoin stock market centric. So you guys know what time it is. Smash that like. Let's have some fun today. We've got two of the best in the game. Number one, we've got your boy, Tim Warren. Tim, Tim, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I haven't been here in a little minute, so that's my first time hearing that intro.
Yeah.
Kudos to whoever made that. That was beautiful.
I've given him a few shout outs, man. It's your boy over at Sin City. Big Rob made that for us. He did a really nice job with it. So shout out to Big Rob over at Sin City. And then, as always, we've got Bill Noble, Mr. Crypto Noble. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you as always. Crypto fam, if you haven't already, smash that like, do that, and follow Tim. Follow Bill. Tim, where's the easiest place for everybody to follow you?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on YouTube. So I have a new show called The Investing Bros with my buddy T Shroom and a new friend of mine, Army Piper. He's out in Texas. So follow us. We go live every weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can also follow me over on Twitter at Tims_TA. I feel like I put some pretty good stuff out over there. So go follow me on both of those.
For sure. Glad that you're here. Make sure to follow Tim. Tim, I will tell you, Investing Bros, I really like. It's super chill. Like, it is a, chill, laid back, have a good conversation about what's going on in the markets. Lots of good information. So props to you. That's been going really well. And then Bill, you're on every day right before us, Debate Crypto. You're on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Crypto Noble, correct?
Yes. Crypto Noble is the warm-up act for Debate Crypto. We knock out charts, market update 5 days a week. Twitter, it's crypto_noble. If you like those hand-kept Gann charts, that's where you find that. So the YouTube channel is new, so check it out.
Heck yeah, make sure to do that. Let me jump into the chat real quick. Say hello. We got Investing Bros in the house. What's going on? T Shroom, New World Crypto. Sean, how you doing today? Rudy Roo. I'm thinking we have a lot of people coming in from Crypto Noble over here. I see some names that I don't see all the time. Secret Soul Society, Billy, what is going on? Kenton, we got your boy, unforgettable name as always, Matt C in the house. Matt, I met Matt down in Miami. Had a little bit of breakfast. Actually, same breakfast I had with you, Tim. Yep. Matt C was there for that. That was a good time. So again, Crypto fan, we appreciate you for being here. All right, let's get into it. Let's start off with the markets. Let's see what's going on in crypto land here. And then we'll go from there. The charts, well, not technically the charts. The overall global market cap is at 1.16 billion. I almost said billion. We would be screwed. We would be in big trouble if it was at 1.16 billion. 1.17 trillion with the T dollars. It's down 1.8%. We've got Bitcoin at 27,981. It jumped up over 28 for any of you paying attention earlier today. I jumped up over 28. I think I saw 28.3 maybe. I don't know if either of you can verify that. Was 28.3 the highest number we saw today?
So far today, I think we've had 28. Let's see, that's a 4-hour chart. Give me 1 second. The highest of the day actually is 28,582 on Coinbase.
Wow, 28,582. So we were ripping earlier. We're cooling off a little bit. Maybe with the upcoming FOMC meeting, we're going to talk about that later on today. So stick around for that. Ethereum's at 1763. That's down 3.68%. Rolling through the top 10. Nothing too unexpected. Nothing wild. XRP down almost 5%. That's at 37 cents. Cardano. We're going to be talking about Cardano today. Down 4.16%. Solana, the only one in the top 10, up 1.13%. People must just be excited that it's actually online today. That is a joke that never gets old. So today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming meeting. We're going to be talking about some altcoins for sure. That's what you showed up for. You wanted to see some charts. You want to see some altcoins. We've got two men that are perfect for the job. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk Cardano. We're going to talk Ethereum. We're going to talk Ravencoin, and we're going to talk, how do you say it, Bill? Monero.
Monero.
Oh, it literally came through as on the text message, Bill. It came through as Mansour, and I looked earlier, and I was like, I'm not finding this one, but Bill's good at finding those diamonds in the rough, so I'm just going to roll with it. Glad I didn't put that on the thumbnail. That might have been a little bit of a blooper that nobody would have, everybody would have been like, what's going on with that? So, yeah, so we're going to do that. And then, guys, $2 million bet. I'm excited to talk about this. We're going to talk about this towards the end of the stream, but a $2 million bet that Bitcoin goes to $1 million in 90 days. So stick around. All right, cool. Let's kick it off. Who would actually, Bill, do me a favor. I know I didn't ask you to do this ahead of time, but can you show me what Bitcoin's looking like, just kind of so we can start off with the overall kind of market sentiment, see what's going on, and start from there before we dive into the alts?
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Let me share screen here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
While he's pulling that up, smash those likes, crypto fam.
So here is Tom DeMark's work on Bitcoin. He was a quantitative technical analyst. Each one of these numbers represents like a set of conditions being present. Like the high is higher than the high 2 days ago. So every time the condition, which is complicated, is present, you get a little number. It counts 1 through 9. That's the first part of the trend called setup. Okay. Now, usually after you get set up, you get a counter trend move, which may be this little kind of silly down trade today. Mm-hmm. That may be your downtick in Bitcoin. And if it is, and this thing takes out 29, then you could have some kind of wild blow off top and 13 more up days. There's an eclipse coming in April. I've talked about it on the show before. It's actually wildly bullish on Bitcoin, right? And I think they're going to do this trade. They're going to do some sort of way up, way down, way up. You're just going to get an old-fashioned blow off top with crazy volatility, hence the buckle up screen backdrop. So this is the pause before they go nuts.
The calm before the storm. Bill, when we get those massive moves where it is up, down, like very quickly, a lot of times people will suggest, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Tim, too, that it is the market makers effectively trying to wash out liquidity one way or the other. When it jumps like that, is that effectively what's generally happening, or is there something else at play? Because it does happen quite a bit.
You know what? Usually, but in this case, it's just simple old-fashioned panic buying, right? Okay. Like when everybody gets done talking about the Credit Suisse or the bailout of the day, people are going to panic buy Bitcoin at the institutional and retail level. So yeah, there may be some shark up there selling it to them at 32, but I don't think this wild action will just be driven by running stops.
Okay. Tim, anything else you want to add on that?
No, I agree with Bill 100%. I think that I think people sometimes give market makers a little too much credit, especially in crypto where we're constantly running 24/7. Obviously, in the stock market, you got to decide where you close Friday, where do you want to open Monday. They have a little more control there. Crypto, I hear people talk about them like significant, and they have their hand in it, but it's not as much as the stock market.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. 24/7 crypto, it would have to be very, very well coordinated. Now, I do believe, I talk about the dinner parties a lot. I do believe that there are some big money plays that happen and other people know, hey, this is about to happen, which can, move things one way or the other. But the money is so massive when you're talking about the market cap of Bitcoin that it would take a very, very coordinated effort. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so Bitcoin. Generally, following Bitcoin is going to be Ethereum. That is just a normal course of action for anyone who's newer to crypto. You will see Bitcoin pump, you will see Ethereum lag behind, and then you get the pump from Ethereum and alts kind of pull behind that. That's a general, typical thing that you will see in the markets. Is that what's happening right now, Tim? What is Ethereum looking like? Let's start off with ETH as the altcoin today.
Yeah, let's do it. Go to my screen. And I know this is a altcoin day, but you're going to hear me reference Bitcoin a lot. And it's because of where we are in the market and how the price has been moving. But looking at Ethereum, something that's really important here is that there's several trend lines. This isn't just random lines over here. There's trend lines here I'm following. The first thing is that Ethereum had been in a rising wedge pattern, which was bearish. We broke out, and you're going to see over here chart prime fantastic tool. We had our dynamic reactor come in very clutch, be our bounce. It was like this on Ethereum and Bitcoin, but we bounce here and are now back inside of the pattern. Now, I'm not expecting us to then have to play out this falling wedge pattern the same way we normally do, but I wanted to keep the lines drawn. This blue line right here, and then this red line up here. I wanted to keep the lines there because the levels of former support and resistance are very, very significant. And that's the other reason why I had these other two lines. So this other blue line and the green line, these are levels of former either support or resistance that have been flipped. And I want to keep my eyes on them. You can see right now that Ethereum is not only respecting this rising level of resistance, it's also respecting this rising level of support as well. And if that fails, we have another level right below it. So Ethereum actually moving decently right now, not like Bitcoin though. For example, if you were to go back, we have not even come close to the peak we had back in August. Of course, Ethereum got a nice little pump when we found out that we were going to finally, after years of waiting for it, have ETH 2.0. But we're nowhere close to that. Like, for example, moving over to Bitcoin, that was a really big deal. Surpassing 25.2 on Bitcoin, that August high, very, very, very big deal. But when it comes to Ethereum, I still believe that there is room to the upside. The question is going to be, can it keep pace with Bitcoin dominance? I'm not sure it will. I think Ethereum and other alts are going to continue to fall behind. And you know, I want to talk about Ethereum, so I'll talk a little more Ethereum. I'll chase the Bitcoin dominance trail here in just a second. But what I'm looking at, I want to pull up some indicators I have here with Chart Prime. This is a lot of chaos on here, but one of the cool things you're able to look at is multi-time frame support and resistance zones. So it not only gives you several significant levels, but ranks them in order of how important they are as well. You can see that what Ethereum has done here recently is after hitting this support level down here, it slashed through all of the flat levels of resistance and is currently using that as support. This is a very bullish sign. Let's take a look. The next level above us, yes, there's going to be some resistance here between us, but the next significant level the daily chart is talking to us about is up here all the way at $2,000, almost $2,100. This kind of can back up. Let me pick that down for just a second. Let's take a look at fixed range volume profile as well and see some gaps here. This was a really big deal to climb above this peak here at 1,600. And now that we're staying above it and we have several levels of support below, the next stop I'm looking at right now, we're kind of wrestling with this peak right here. The dip coming in at 1,850 is my next spot. And then a little higher than that, 1,900. If we can surpass those levels, watch that prediction of 2,100 and hitting new highs for the year or in the last couple of months for Ethereum could be very, very well on its way, especially if we see Bitcoin not just take 30,000, but go a lot higher than that. I kind of teased that thought, though, with Bitcoin. And this is something that's really important for people to keep an eye on when it comes to Bitcoin. Let's scroll back here to the last bear market. And I've been stressing this very heavily on Investing Bros. And I really want people to be able to pay attention to this and be aware of this. This is the bear market of 2018. So we came down. Is it identical to what we just witnessed? No, it is not. But I want to pay attention to a couple similarities, though. We had one last level of resistance before the big dip, before we hit our bottom. Then after this, Bitcoin, starting here in February, it made a monstrous rally, 314%, all the way up to this level, 13,800, 319. All right, here's the significance of that level, though. Let's look at the Fibonacci retracement. That Fibonacci retracement level is the golden pocket. After hitting that level, we still ended up dropping another 53% before the real bull market started. Don't pay attention to pandemic. That's a black swan event. This all happened before we knew what the word that shall not be said on YouTube is. Before we knew the pandemic existed, we dropped 53%. This was not a bull market. This was a premature bull run. If we were to see the same thing happen, and I'll bring this back to Ethereum and altcoins in a second, but if we were to see the same thing happen, if you guys have been seeing the updated numbers on 50,000 for Bitcoin, I know that's nothing compared to this $1 million Bitcoin price that we're going to talk about a little bit later. I'm talking about realistic predictions for Bitcoin. When you hear people say 50,000, guess what that is? The golden pocket. Just like we experienced over here back in 2019, a premature bull run, could we not see Bitcoin rally all the way up to 50,000, drop 50% back down to what level? Oh, 25,200, a former significant resistance level, just like we had back here in the previous bear market. If I scroll in for you guys, see that level right there? We came over, boom, back in November of 19, we came down and touched it twice before the real bull market started. This is what I'm keeping an eye on right here. But now it kind of gets to do what does this mean, though, for Ethereum and other got to type in the right thing. What does this mean for Ethereum and other altcoins? Well, to look at that, we have to look at what we have on the Bitcoin dominance chart. By the way, beautiful chart right there. Let me take down chart prime for a second. Beautiful chart right there. We're exploding back up. Have a level of resistance above us right now, but a lot of people are suspecting we get back to 50. Let's go back to those dates I was talking about back here. This would be so February technically is right here. February of 19, when this premature bull market started, we dipped a little bit in dominance for Bitcoin at first, and then started this massive run of dominance all the way up to almost that exact peak date. We start a dominance grab in Bitcoin as well when the bull market actually starts. But in January of 2021, you guys are seeing this absolutely plummet. Let's go look at Bitcoin really quickly. Let's look at Bitcoin's chart and those same exact dates. February, I already showed you guys February. February right here, we rally 314. Then we start our real bull market. I kind of give the credit to the real bull market starting right here in September of 2020. We got all the way up to January 2021 before alts really started to make their own push. Take a look. Let's go back to Ethereum. Ethereum was one that was closer to what Bitcoin was doing, but let's take a look at what price action was doing on Ethereum during those same exact times. Can I get this looking good? Got to maybe use the log chart because Ethereum is a little bit more chaotic. Let's see here. All right. So February to June of 19, this was that premature bull market. Ethereum had a rally. I'm not going to take that away, but instead of what it usually does, outpacing Bitcoin, Ethereum only rallied 256%. Only 256%. And again, that's it's still a lot of money. But when you think about the fact that Bitcoin, which especially at that time had such a larger market cap than Ethereum, the significance of Bitcoin outpacing Ethereum is huge. Versus when you take a look at what Ethereum did from the bottom of the pandemic up to that first little peak, we're looking at almost 5,000% increase versus Bitcoin was only 1,500.
Yeah.
Bull markets see altcoins outpace Bitcoin. These premature rallies, we're just going to see Bitcoin outpace the rest of them.
Yeah.
If it gets even worse, I know we're going to talk about Cardano in a second, but let's go back. Let's look at the date here in Cardano. I might need to go to an older chart. Let's go to Kraken because I know that one was around back then. Let's go back to that same June. Let's see. February of 19. February of 19. Where are you? Where are you? Right in here. Cardano, very, very puny looking chart during that same time. Only 193% during Bitcoin's 314 versus, of course, you go to the bull market where Cardano was the largest altcoin to gain. I'll go to this first peak right here because that was later on. The first peak takes it all the way 13,000% increase on Cardano. Ooh. The whole point I'm bringing this up is that when we go back and we look at what Bitcoin is doing right now, we are moving in an unprecedented move prematurely because the Fed is messing up again.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right bull market. Another reason why I don't think this is the bull market just yet is, and again, a reason why I think Bitcoin's going to climb and we're going to see Ethereum and Cardano and other altcoins lag behind in a very weird way, is because when you look at this other thing that I have here, look at this halving event that we had March or May of 2020. That's the halving event that we always look at those for kind of give us timelines for when bull markets start. This peak, this fake run up happened, I'm on the daily chart, about 318 days. Another way of, let's see, if we go to the weekly chart, I like looking at this on the weekly chart, 46 weeks. We had a fake run up that then dipped back down 46 weeks before the halving event.
Yep.
We are nowhere close to that right now. We're still over a year. Well, I guess we're about a year away because more than likely we're going to see March or April be the date for our next halving event. That means that right now we are 54 weeks away.
Which would time up almost perfectly with the next halving.
Yeah, we could wait. We could see a $50,000 price in May and then still see a 50% slash and be on pace with the 4-year cycle on how bull markets usually last.
That's a great analysis, Tim. I appreciate you for just diving into it that deeply, because a lot of times people will look at one or two kind of, indicators that they're looking at and things that show. You've heard people say before, history doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes. And effectively what you're showing there is the strong possibility with all of the different things that you're pointing at that we're almost going through the same thing again, or we potentially could. Now, the thing that I will throw out there is that we have unprecedented times right now. I talk about macro a lot. We have, war going on. We have famine, we have bank runs, we have a lot of chaos going on. So I think that that's the big question mark right now. And then the other question mark is regulation. And I want to talk to Bill on this one here in just a second. As we get into regulate.
Keeper, I want to remind you one more thing. Not many people remember this detail, though. Here's another very important piece of information about back in 2018, 2019. Technically speaking, we had 2 negative quarters of GDP. We moved into a state of quantitative easing, and that sparked that premature rally. That was not officially at the bull rally. The bull rally, you could make an argument, had a lot of backing from the massive printing for funding. You know, when we shut the economy down due to the pandemic, we started printing those checks. You could blame the bull market on that, but you could see the premature rally happened due to quantitative easing, due to printing of money. And especially, you know, I know we're going to focus on this a little bit later on the show, with the uncertainty of what's happening right now. If we're turning the money printers back on because we're having banking problems, what happens here in 2 or 3 months if this wish-washy Fed that keeps changing their mind on everything decides, you know what, that was good enough, let's go back into quantitative tightening? That should not be ruled off the table. And that could very much explain why we repeat history. We rally up to the golden pocket at 50,000. We come back down. The alts do not have that same explosive movement. They wait until later in 2023, early 2024 to actually start the real bull market.
Yeah, that would be, you know what? It would be wild, and it would be hectic, and it would be chaotic, which would be absolutely one word: crypto. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to crypto. Make sure to smash that like, everybody. If you are not already following Tim, if you're not already following Crypto Noble, make sure to give them a follow. Their links are down below the stream. We appreciate them for being here. Bless them for their hard work being here, and at least give them a follow. Make sure to subscribe over on their YouTubes. Okay, so we have a lot going on, a lot of indicators that maybe are pointing, as far as you're concerned, Tim, that we could have a big move upwards and then a big move back down. And I have been talking about for a long time the fact that I thought we were still going to see lower. I'm not backing off of that right now, but man, it's feeling like I very likely could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But the thing that concerns me, besides all of the other macro events, is regulations. Okay. And one of the things that regulators have been, we're here to talk about altcoins. One of the things that regulators have been, you know, really having their eye on is privacy, or I should say they have you looking at a whole bunch of other things while they're trying to strip away your privacy. And so I want to have Bill dive in to a privacy coin. By all intents and purposes, we should be able to be in crypto, be our own bank, and have some privacy. I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. But I am concerned moving forward that we are going to have some issues via regulation on what kind of privacy we are going to be able to have. So the number one coin that you will hear people talk about, or at least as far as I'm concerned, as it relates to privacy, is going to be Monero. So Bill, I think you've got something pulled up for Monero that you want to go through?
Sure.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, let's talk about it. All right. So before we talk about Monero, let's talk some simple stuff, right? All the regional banks are going to fail, right? The Fed has already told you that. What they're going to do is they're going to be nationalized. Like it happened to Credit Suisse. What does nationalized mean? Well, that means effectively the government's going to run the bank, which means they can go in and take your money if they want. Okay. They can also make you take CBDCs instead of regular dollars. So the Chinese character for crisis is a mixture of danger and opportunity, the same characters. So I know we're not in China, but they're taking over the banking system. All right. Now, that's why it's amazing. They're doing QE. It's not working. The printing presses are running, but the bank stocks are still down.
Yep.
Okay. So if you go to Monero, right over here, this is the 200-week moving average, right? It's very interesting that every time Monero wicks down below the 200-week moving average, even though it's really small, it's coming back. 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks down. Now, this doesn't look like much. Like if you look at a daily chart of Monero, it doesn't look that good. But let's face it, folks. Not every altcoin is going to win. Like Tim's right? Bitcoin's going to go much higher than expected, sell in May and go away, you know, July 4th to August, and these swings are going to be wild. Stock market crash in September, and then the biggest Bitcoin rally you've ever seen.
Hold on, pause real quick. So I didn't take your advice And I did take your advice on sell in May and go away a while ago. I think I've told you this. Like, I made a bunch of money from doing that. I wish I would have sold in May and walked away with more than I did, right? Are you suggesting that we're going to see that again in crypto? That's not just going to continue to be a stock market thing. You think this year is going to be something similar?
Yeah, I think it's going to be something similar with exactly what Tim said, much wilder volatility.
Wow.
Right. Like the blow off top into the eclipse in April is going to be bigger than anyone thinks. The sell in May and go away drop, which will probably start in April, will be more brutal than anybody thinks. That'll probably be regulation, like you said, right? Yeah. Like, Gensler's getting laughed out of court right now, so they're going to have to come up with round 2. I don't know what they're going to come up with and not get laughed out of court, but they may try to do something, cyber attacks. I don't know. I mean, you name it, right? Something can go wrong. And then, stock market event in September, October, right? And then everything takes off. But in the meantime, people are going to be focused on 2 things: privacy and liquidity. Like if you're outside of Bitcoin, like ETH for transaction speed, privacy, liquidity. So Monero is for liquidity. I'm sorry, is for privacy, obviously. And the fact that all they do every time it goes below 140, they just keep buying it. Right. And I know this is like overly simplistic, but it's not. Right.
It doesn't always need to be some complicated, crazy chart to see what's happening.
Sure. Because, everybody is now diversifying out of cash into Bitcoin. Eventually, as time goes on, people are going to say, all right, is there anything else we can own out there other than Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And not get wrecked.
So where right now, Bill, if somebody was looking, again, none of this is ever financial advice, crypto fam. We are here to entertain and educate, right? Not financial advice. But Bill, I know in the past, Monero could be hard to find. They made it kind of hard to find, hard to buy. Is there a process that any of the viewers would need to know to be able to get into Monero, or are they just able to jump on any old regular exchange and buy it?
Okay, well, I'm not a Monero expert in that respect. I'm a Zcash guy.
Yeah.
Last I heard, you can get Zcash on Coinbase.
Yeah.
Now, the Monero chart looks much better than Coinbase. Than Zcash.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: smart money's going to figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
Even if they keep it away from retail.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, it's 2 things, Nick: smart money and people on college campuses. Just go to your local college campus. I guarantee you're going to find somebody who knows how to get you some Monero. Last year at Consensus, Matt C is in chat. Him, me, and Greg Gressick. We were going out for lunch, and we met this guy who he was asking what we were doing. We're like, oh, we're here for the crypto conference. He's like, oh, I love crypto. I use a coin called Monero to buy my mushrooms. It's the one use case I've ever heard, but I guarantee you go to a college campus, somebody there is going to show you how to get some Monero.
That's a really good point. So the overall market, first of all, chat, just want to throw this out there. We're going to do we're going to pick one random alt towards the end of the show. So chat, if you want to toss out a couple alts in there at some point, do that. Smash that like. We got 73 people here. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. Thank you for being here. Please smash the like. Hey, turn on the bell notification. Some people were saying they weren't getting notified that we were live. You got to make sure to have that bell notification on for YouTube to be able to, let you know that it's going on. Okay. So this week, driving everything, driving Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, then the rest of the alts. We have a big meeting, and the meeting is on Wednesday, correct, Tim? Yes?
Yes. Yep.
I want to pull something up, and Tim was actually showing me this earlier, so shout out, Tim. I appreciate you showing me this. I did not realize this tool was available to me. But the CME group has basically a table. There's a lot more here than just a table, just a chart. But this chart is effectively showing what they're betting the basis points hike or, basically a rate increase or rate decrease is going to be. And right now, my understanding is this changes quite a bit, so I guess I could update it, but it was just a couple minutes ago. Right now, they are suggesting that we're looking at, a 50 basis points rate hike? Is that the 74.5%?
25 at this point.
Oh, 25. Where's the 25 on the chart that I'm
So
missing
it doesn't say it. So this chart, in this chart, you have to be a little introspective. So currently, we're hovering between 450 to 475.
Okay.
So that's what you'll see. The 71% right now predicting 475 to 5. That's 25 basis points. 28% are still predicting we're pausing, doing nothing.
Okay. All right. So with that understanding that they are effectively betting on the idea that we have a 25 basis points rate hike, what do you gentlemen think that we can expect in the short term as a result of hearing some information? Let's assume that it's right. Let's say, hey, 25 basis points, we get the information on Wednesday and we find out, yep, 25 BPS, 25 basis points rate hike happens. Tim, what do you think happens short term?
Yeah. So there was a guy who posted on Twitter last week, and I could not have agreed with a tweet more in my entire life. He's like, this FOMC meeting is about to be the most important FOMC meeting of all FOMC meetings until the next one. Because that's just the way FOMC meetings go. They always are. The newest information is your best bet. Yes, it's nice to know what happened in the past, but what is next? And here's that's going to be very important. Again, this chart has changed a lot, just in case anyone was wondering. 2 weeks ago, before we saw the banks crashing left and right, we actually had an 80% prediction that we were going to have a 50 basis point rate hike. This changes. So what I'm looking at here, while 25 is what it's looking like it's going to be for March, I actually am even looking more into what's happening in the future. This same tool is predicting that by December, we will have cut down. Right now, it can't decide for certain, but it's just saying that we're going to cut down all the way back towards either probably 375 to 4 or 4 to 425. Worst case scenario, that's still a 50 basis point cut from where we currently are. Best case scenario, that's a 75 basis point cut from where we currently are. My point is this: as much as
cut, you said cut.
A cut, yes. So right now they're predicting by December we will have lower interest rates, meaning we will have pivoted, and the Fed is going to be cutting rates by December. And what's really important, as much as the number, whatever is announced at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is very important. Those of us who have been playing this game and watching these, for a while now, know what's even more important is, what does Jerome Powell say at the podium? Is he going to come out? In the past, keep these words in mind. In the past, he's stressed the importance of getting inflation back to 2%. That's his main idea. That's his main goal. He wants to get it back 2%. And he understands that that is going to cost jobs. That was the huge thing. Elizabeth Warren, I call her Auntie Beth now, even though we're not related. That's what her huge thing was at that congressional hearing, was that she asked him to say that. So the 2 million people are going to lose their jobs, to which he replied, hey, tell the rest of the people that their money is going to become worthless unless we fix inflation. Great point. The problem is he going to change his tune? Is that no longer going to be a part of it? We also discussed, he acknowledged in the past that the banks were going to hurt a little bit, but did he expect banks of this magnitude, like Silicon Valley Bank, to crash? I don't think so. So is he going to come out dovish and say, you know what? We were a little too aggressive. We're going to need to back it off and be a little more dovish. That would be the most bullish thing in the world for Bitcoin. But if he says 25 basis points and then says something along the lines of, even if he only says, we're just going to continue to monitor data month by month, I don't think people are bracing themselves for how potentially bearish that could be, because now we go back into this just limbo. Is he going to go? Is he officially going to start turning on the printer, or is he going to be dovish? Low key, I'm expecting him to come out and say, this was worse than we thought it was going to happen. And even though it's important to fix inflation, we need to make sure that banks and liquidity are still happening at a high level. Watch the printers turn back on. And like me and Bill have talked about, this run up into May. I didn't even know what he was saying. I think I've heard the expression, but I've forgotten the expression, sell in May and walk away. That lines up just perfectly with what I'm saying. A run up to 50K by May looks very likely.
I'm very much, looking forward to this meeting on Wednesday. We'll probably we'll do a live as we always do, but we might even go live early, possibly. Crypto Fan, we'll keep you posted on that. But I'm really interested to see how this plays out, because it does matter, and it matters in a big way. It doesn't just matter for crypto. It matters for the rest of the freaking world. If you own a business, if you work for somebody, I saw a chat a minute ago that said right here, so it said, Wick 589 says, this week has the most going on finance wide. I work at a credit union. Emails are flying, y'all. This is super wild. And this just tells me it's not just the crypto world. It's not just the YouTubers. Nobody's trying to drum. Listen, this is real. This is happening. We really need to be paying attention. Bill, what are your thoughts on the upcoming meeting?
Okay, I have a slightly different perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hear it. It's debate crypto, baby. Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Everybody thinks it's the Super Bowl. I have a different angle. So whatever Jerome Powell says, he's hosed. If he comes out and says we're doing 25 basis points or whatever, he's basically telling you that he's giving up on the banking system and all he can do is try to fight inflation because nobody tightens in the face of a crisis. Okay. Back in 2008, the end game was QE. Well, QE is already back on. And what's happening? Nothing. Stocks are, bank stocks continue to go down. There's a bailout every day. So, he does 25 basis points. He's giving up on the banking system. He's betting that the dollar devaluation is what the end game is.
Wow.
Okay. Now, if he lowers rates or keeps rates steady, the pivot, everyone's like, oh, can't wait for the pivot. Yeah. Okay, bro. The pivot's coming. Okay. But if he says we got to pivot or we're going to just hold up here, well, he's confirming that it's effed, right? He's confirming that the whole system is effed, right?
So either way, we're beat.
Done, right? So you'll have a stock market event in the fall, right? But the dollar down trade, like if he hikes rates, the dollar down trade will be slower. He pivots and that dollar down trade is going to accelerate, DXY with 100 handle. We're talking 92 and 80 by the time it's over.
Yeah. So, I couldn't agree with you more, Bill. Somebody actually suggested last show, maybe a couple shows ago, I suggested that, I wouldn't want Jerome Powell's job. I wouldn't want to be standing up there having to say what he's going to say. But ultimately, I also understand the fact of what you're saying, Bill. Like, we are in trouble. We have kicked the can down the road so far. Like, at some point, the can falls off the freaking edge and there's no really catching it. I've been saying for a long time, soft landing my butt. This has gotten so wildly out of control. And then the policies that have come into place, literally everything has just gone off the freaking rails. Money just being spent frivolously in other countries. We don't need to get into all the politics, but it's there, right? And so we have caused this problem. And now, we effectively want the Fed to come out and tell us that everything's going to be okay, but I don't know that it even can be. I don't think that there is an end game here where this just ends up hunky-dory. There's a reason, and stick around for this, why somebody just bet that Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million in 90 days. And I got news for you. It's not good news. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's not freaking good news. That bet is not a cool thing. You should not look forward to that. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Okay. So we've got the Fed meeting coming up this week. Really freaking important. Sounds like, according to Bill, big news, and we're screwed either way. And it sounds like Tim agrees with that, and that we could get a nice little run up and then possibly the drop back down. Brace for a lot of volatility. So my question is, altcoins seem to be the opportunity, but at the same time, in crypto fam, none of this is financial advice. Altcoins are the opportunity where you can absolutely make life-changing money in shorter amounts of time. But let me be clear. You can lose life-changing amounts of money in a shorter amount of time. So just let me make that really freaking clear. And one of the assets that has done very well, I've talked about before, where Crypto Crow led me to Cardano. And I did very well with Cardano. I would have got in even earlier had I not have had an issue with Binance. That's a whole different story. At any event, Cardano. I have seen some great gains out of Cardano. I still hold a nice little bag of Cardano. I'm looking forward to seeing some crazy gains in Cardano. Knowing what we think we know and what we're seeing coming up in the future and what you see, Tim, talk to me about what you see for Cardano right now and what you might see moving forward.
So I prefaced this earlier, and like you said, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter over the last week or so talking about, oh, get ready, guys, for this altcoin run. I hate to be the one to put the damper on it, but as I said earlier, I don't know if the alts are ready. I think Bitcoin is going to have its own little party. And I think alts can kind of dabble in there. But anyone who's expecting altcoins like Cardano to go up 300, 400% over the next 2 months, I don't think it's going to happen. Ethereum too, like Atom, Matic, VeChain, Algo, Dogecoin, whatever your altcoin of choice is. Continue to DCA. I'm never against the DCA strategy because I do believe in these altcoins long term.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'm ready for it to happen right now. When it comes to Cardano, you can go to my chart. I have to preface the TA for Cardano by saying the Cardano community is the biggest asset and sometimes the most frustrating thing in the world when it comes to reading the charts on Cardano. It's such an avid community that they will continue to pump things and they're building things well. And then they'll pump when no one's ready for them to pump. And then when everything on the chart is looking beautiful, nothing really happens. There is good news on the chart right now, though. If you just want to look at the charts, remember we looked at with Bitcoin. I'm going to go out to the daily chart. I'm going to turn on my market oracle here with Chart Prime. This dynamic reactor, I don't have time to explain its significance, but it is a beautiful, beautiful moving average type-esque thing that right now Cardano on the daily chart is using as resistance. So you might be saying, Tim, why is that bullish? Why is that good? Let me show you Bitcoin again.
I want to shout out just real quick. Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
Matt C, thank you very much, man. 1999 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Hopefully I will see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bitcoin just bounced over here back on the 11th of March. This was that nice support level. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum on the daily chart bounced off of its dynamic reactor. Cardano is wrestling with it as resistance, which means that at the moment, while Bitcoin and Ethereum have had some momentum running, Cardano is oversold still. I'm going to pull up the other thing. Remember, I had a lot of chaos going on when I pulled up my Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. I'll show those really quickly. All these levels of resistance and support that Ethereum had slashed through, that Bitcoin had slashed through, and now we're on top of them. Cardano's not. It's at the bottom of them. And again, some people are going to read this and say, oh, that just means Cardano's not doing well. No, that means that Cardano is oversold, and that when the community on Cardano wakes up and they're constantly building things, I'm looking at these Cardano charts and saying it is prime for at least a decent little upswing. Like if we just had a little bit of momentum and came up to these most predicted, these are the strongest levels of resistance right now, all the way back up at 42 cents. That would be a nice little climb for Cardano, back another 30% little rally just to get somewhere even close to where Ethereum and Bitcoin are sitting at right now. I also wanted to take a look at here one more thing. Let's pull up our oscillator. Really cool thing. Bitcoin and Ethereum right now are flashing. I talked about overbought, oversold. This oscillator for Chart Prime, it's worth Chart Prime itself, has been flashing on Bitcoin overbought. Now, I think we're going to ignore this signal. I think Bitcoin has a lot of momentum. Ethereum kind of similarly, is not flashing overbought, but a reversal triangle just came in. When you pull up Cardano, we're hovering in the middle. We are not overbought at the moment. We're actually still much, much lower on Cardano. And for those reasons, I actually really do think Cardano has a little bit of a pump left in it. There was a prediction made by the Cardano community that they would end the month at 39 cents was the prediction. And I don't know if we'll get quite back there, but as you can tell right now at 33 cents, we are not close. And we only have a week and some change until that 39 cents is due from that Cardano community. Yeah. That community also predicted 49 cents to end February. Why we did not get it, I want you guys to take a hold of this. They predicted it back here in early January, and Cardano went on a tear up to 43 cents. Did it get to the prediction point? No. But that Cardano community knows something. And I told you, it's the biggest asset and sometimes the most frustrating part of Cardano. But the fact that they are leading bullish and making these bullish predictions, and the fact that Cardano is so oversold at the moment, I think that Cardano is going to do one of its classics. No one's going to be ready, but you're going to wake up and Cardano would have pumped 10% on the day already, and it's going to make its way back up here towards 43 cents. In April. We'll see if it can keep climbing April and May, but for right now, I still believe Cardano is one of the most oversold altcoins out there, despite the fact that it's still producing and growing at such a massive rate.
Yeah, there you go. Cardano has been exactly what you just said. It's been frustrating sometimes, and it does seem to pop out of nowhere. I never see, you always hear Charles Hoskinson talk about how he doesn't care about the price and they're just continuing to develop and they want to do all these philanthropic things and all these great things that make Cardano what it is. But it has been very frustrating for people as far as some of the moves and catching the moves. So this is a great example as to why some people will call Keeper a lazy investor by dollar cost averaging. But I'm going to tell you what, it has done well for me over the long term. Call it lazy, call it whatever you want. It's been successful. And Cardano has definitely been one of those because trying to trade Cardano, this is just a personal opinion here. I'm not great at trading anyway, but trying to trade Cardano, I feel like was almost like throwing darts sometimes. It doesn't seem to make sense a lot of times when and how the moves happen. So I couldn't agree more with that, Tim. I've talked with Crusader about that in the past, that it just doesn't really make sense a lot of times with the moves that we see. Crypto Fam, we got 90 people in the chat. Make sure to smash that like. Hopefully we got 90 likes. We'd love to see that. And follow Tim, follow Bill. Make sure to do your do your duty here on YouTube. You're here. We're giving you great information every single day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to smash the like, make sure to sub. And I want to take a quick, brief break here. This episode is brought to you by Price CPA, Crypto Tax Bookkeeping. Listen, Crusader and I are just finishing up our taxes, and I will tell you, the accountant is worth the CPA is worth their weight in gold if they know crypto. We had NFT sales. We had some things from some sponsors, and there were some creative things that he was able to do, taking advantage of the tax code, but he had to know crypto. That was the caveat, right? Also, you bring I've brought crypto to a regular accountant before, and they've looked at me like I'm absolutely freaking insane, and they're very irritated because they don't want to mess with it, they don't understand it, and they don't have the ability to give you the advantages. So make sure to check out our boy. He's a great dude too, Price CPA. We do have a link down below the stream for that. Okay, so kind of rounding up, getting towards the tail end here. I want to have a couple more conversations. Let's hit one more altcoin, though. This is one that I candidly don't know a lot about. Bill, you have talked to me about this before. It's, again, like I said, it's an asset that I'm not super familiar with, but I'd love to hear more about Ravencoin. We're always looking for like a good new asset to talk about. And I know it's not a new asset, but just something that we don't talk about a lot. This would be a great example of that. Talk to me about what Ravencoin's got going on.
Okay, Ravencoin is actually what's old is new again. It's actually a 2017 play. As I remembered, it was the tokenization of everything.
Okay.
Now, Ravencoin came back on my radar because if you go to your news, the head of BlackRock has been talking about we need to do security tokens. We need to tokenize legacy. Now, these are shocking comments that would have been front page news if we weren't having a banking system meltdown. A lot of ETH miners migrated over to Ravencoin when.
Oh, I remember that.
ETH went to 2.0.
Yeah.
And one day, okay, players like BlackRock, there's no liquidity in corporate bonds. There's no liquidity for venture capital. There's no liquidity in real estate. And pretty soon, September, October, you're not going to have any liquidity in stocks. So BlackRock is saying, okay, we have all these assets, or the system has all these assets, and none of them are liquid. You can't move a venture capital book like what Silicon Valley Bank had unless you can tokenize it.
Okay.
So that's relatively obscure, but somewhere in here, like privacy, or maybe after there's a stock market event, people are going to go, you know what? We need more liquidity, and the only way to get more liquidity is to tokenize everything. Now, could Ravencoin benefit? Could it get back above the 60-day moving average? It's kind of like the Cardano chart, sort of would love something to happen, but don't know if it will.
Right.
In terms of DCA, all right? I think you DCA in September. I don't want to DCA in a sideways market because every dip feels like a dip. It's like, oh, great, it's a dip. But then there's really a big dip and you're out of ammo.
Yeah.
So these type of things, Monero might be a different story, but one of the biggest risks in legacy, whether you like Ravencoin or you don't, one of the biggest risks in legacy is liquidity. And when this is all said and done, any technology platform like Polymath, Ravencoin, okay, Polymath wants to run on Polkadot, right? Now Polymesh. Anybody who can get liquidity into the system by tokenizing stuff, BlackRock is telling you we'll support it. And that's a major theme, right? That's a major investment theme to DCA in when it comes DCA time.
Yeah, we've talked about this next bull run being the utilitarian bull run, and expecting and thinking that the assets that are going to run and that are going to do very well, you're still going to have your one-off meme tokens, the crypto casino, roll the dice, that'll still be there. But Bill, you and I have talked specifically about the utility that's coming up, the assets that are, effectively tokenizing the movement of water and like real things that solve real problems in the world today. So I love the idea of, and I believe moving forward that we are going to be on the blockchain. We are going to be tokenizing a lot of very large corporations. And if that's what Ravencoin is doing, I see that as a utility that would be very, very, very important moving forward in the financial system that we're in. So that's one to be looking out for. Crypto fam, as always, we're not here to give you financial advice. We are here to educate you, open your eyes, show you some different options, opportunities, things of that nature. So thank you for bringing that one up. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's talk about it. So I can't with this. I did a short and a TikTok before I got on here about this. Let me pull this up here. Former Coinbase CTO makes $2 million bet on Bitcoin's performance. Okay, let's talk about this. So under the proposed term, so this guy, so the wager was initiated on March 17th. Twitter user James Medlock offered a bet to anyone. He bet him $1 million that the United States would not experience hyperinflation. A few hours later, the former Coinbase executive accepted the bet. He said, "Sir, I believe we have ourselves a bet. Here's the terms. Under the terms, if Bitcoin fails to reach $1 million by June 17th, crypto fan, that's less than 90 days from now, okay? $1 million. Medlock will win $1 million worth of USDC and 1 Bitcoin. In the same way, if Bitcoin is worth at least $1 million by the date, then the Coinbase exec can keep the Bitcoin and the $1 million in USDC. He said, you buy BTC, I will send the $1 million. This is 40-1 odds as Bitcoin is worth 26K. Okay, let me hit my thought on this first, and then I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. This is something you do not root for. Now, many people are thinking in the chat, why, Keeper? I want to see $1 million Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin. I want to see that. Listen, you get a move like that, there's a reason for it, and it's not going to be good. You are going to be buying a $150 hamburger from McDonald's if Bitcoin hits $1 million in the next 90 days. Do not root for this. What am I saying? I'm saying that we would have to move into, this is my estimation, and I'd like to hear what you guys think, but I'm saying the only way that possibly happens is if we moved into hyperinflation and when I talk about hyper, we're freaking Back to the Future warp speed getting after it at that point to be able to do that. So I just want to caution people, though it feels nice to think about and dream about, it's just like the XRP army put them up, a $50,000 XRP, right? It's just not feasible, at least right now. And that's where I'm at with Bitcoin. I think the only way that happens is if we absolutely collapse. Thoughts, gentlemen? Tim, I'll start with you.
This morning on my show, I talked about the quote from Winston Churchill that said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all others that have been tried. What was he talking about? There are a lot of flaws with democracy. A lot of flaws. It is not the perfect way. It's not a utopia. It's just the best government we've ever seen. And I say that to compare it to this. This is a very stretch of a comparison because there's lots of flaws with fiat, and we actually do have something better. But I do want to point out that the US dollar, despite all of its flaws, is still the best of the fiat currencies right now. Like, that's something that Americans need to sometimes take a step back and realize, like, yeah, we're getting wrecked every day because our government doesn't know how to spend money correctly, and they're depleting our money every single day. The other countries are doing the exact same thing, though. Maybe El Salvador. The reason I don't see hyperinflation happening is, despite the fact that we might turn money printers on, we might not be able to keep up the pace with how other governments are going to be doing it. And with the US dollar still being the base currency for trade, 90 days, I just don't see that happening. Fast forward, give me a couple years, possibly. But you said, Keeper, you said the reason, you said don't root for this because that would mean, $150 burgers, I think you're absolutely right. Here's another reason why I do not like this article. I do not like this story. And I think people should, I understand why we're covering it, but it's one of those things I'm like, I wish it didn't get coverage. I wish people stopped talking about it, because this is going to bring attention from millions of people who have no idea what's going on in crypto.
Yes.
And when this inevitably flops, and when this inevitably does not come to fruition, this guy who was a former executive at one of the top crypto companies out there, Coinbase, is going to look like the biggest idiot on the planet, and it will feed the fire of these crypto people are insane. The dollar is still very strong. Do not fall for this fake, because you got to remember right now, right? I think I've heard this on several different channels. I said it on several different channels. When Bitcoin was first created, 2009 to 2013, nobody really knew what it was. A couple of computer nerds understood the fundamentals and were like, this is awesome, this is the future. But the majority of the planet could not even fathom, they didn't even know it existed. Then between 2013 to 2017, it became oh my gosh, that's that computer coin that people go back and forth. That's so funny. They laughed at it. Since 2017, moving especially within the last year or two, we are in the phase of where the government and the world will fight crypto, and they're going to look for every single piece of firewood they can to fuel the flames as to why crypto is not good. That's why the banking crash last week of Silicon Valley was such a big deal, because they actually were on a win. The government and the central banks were on win streaks where they could look at the idiocy of crypto, and quote unquote, the idiocy of crypto, and say, look at all these people losing millions of dollars. Look at how they're throwing their life savings away. Well, guess what just got exposed? You're throwing your money away when you put it in banks as well. And crypto, despite the fact that the price went down, is the future. This, though, is just one more way that central banks and people who are dollar centrists, they love the dollar, are going to be able to hold off and fight crypto even more, because they're like, look at these idiot claims from these crypto people. They say 90 days we're inflating. That's not going to happen. Hey, guys, we're going to keep this narrative going. Your banks are safe. Don't trust crypto. Trust your money. Trust your bank. Everything will be okay. Mommy and pop, government and the Fed are going to take care of you. Everything's okay. Go back to sleep. And I don't like that.
I hadn't even thought of it from that standpoint, Tim. That's a really great point. Just effectively making people in crypto look more stupid. And I will say candidly, I wonder what, publicity stunt or not, there's $2 million one way or the other on the line here. So it's like, did this dude need some sort of just a huge tax write-off somehow? I have no idea what the tax laws are as it relates to gambling, but it seems strange to me. So Bill, you've been around for a long time. You know what time it is. What are your thoughts when you hear a story like this?
Okay, well, let's give this guy, let's call him a thought leader to be polite for the moment.
Okay.
Thought leaders are usually right, but they're always early. They always get stopped out, and they never really get the right implementation of the trade, right? To get Bitcoin at $1 million, you probably got to have 5% of global pension fund assets and 5% of U.S. deposits in Bitcoin.
Which would be absolute insanity. That would be massive.
Right. Over a 90-day period, that's not going to happen where everybody goes, oh my God, I have to allocate to Bitcoin. As you said, you don't necessarily want to be living in that world. Now, what this guy may be right about is that there is going to be an event. I think the event is in the fall, hence the whole he's early thing, right? He's going to wind up being right, sort of. You might get 100K. I said 88. I had a 250K number, whatever it is. You're going to see a much, much higher Bitcoin because you're going to have a much, much lower dollar. And, I got this one chart here of the dollar index going all the way back to the 70s. Jerome Powell may just stand up at the podium and go, let it go. They did it in 1985 with the Plaza Accord. They just said, let the dollar go down. Yeah. So he's calling for hyperinflation. That's probably a little dramatic. How about a 50% drop in the dollar? Just let the dollar devalue itself. This is what they do in every debt crisis. Could you get hyperinflation? Could you get $1 million Bitcoin? I think the way he set this up, he's distracted people from the fact that, the dollar could fall a lot. That could be very scary, especially combined with a stock market crash. Yeah. I mean, if you think it's scary now, you're going to be laughing in the fall. Just like when FTX happened, you were laughing about Celsius. Like, remember when we thought that was scary?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So, you look at the fall, you look at a precipitous drop in the dollar. Could that lead to hyperinflation? Sure. But I think the better focus is, if the dollar index goes from 103 to 60, what should you own? I think if you ask the question that way, you can be thought-provoking rather than provocative.
Yeah. Man, Bill, that you always bring out thoughts in my mind, and I think that is a very introspective idea on the, what looks like just a wild off the wall bet that somebody decided to make. Somebody in the chat said $2 million. I had it pulled up, but the $2 million, that's a cheap marketing campaign, right? The question becomes, what is he marketing for? Who is he marketing to? Whatever the case may be. But yeah, Bill, that's where do you go, right? We have Danger Close Alpha. We sponsor all the shows. We currently have Bullets, Beans, and Bourbon. Our commodities are 0.01. They're on OpenSea, so check those out. We have an event coming up May 12th through the 14th. Some of the greatest minds in all of prepping are teaching people how to be practical, how to purify some water, how to have some extra food on hand, how to have some defense items in your home, just things that are very practical. And we talk about it all the time. We are coming into an age, we've been there for a while, but it's really getting wild right now. If you don't have a game plan, and this is what I'm getting at with what Bill is saying. Bill said, if the dollar index drops to 60 cents, what should you be owning, right? He's thinking ahead, saying, hey, where should you be planning? We talk about having diversified portfolios, right? Well, you also need to be doing some very practical things around the house to take care of you and your family. So just throwing that out there. We love you guys. We want to make sure that every single person is prepared one way or another. That's what Debate Crypto is all about. We're here to bring thought-provoking ideas. We are here to help educate you in the crypto space and have some fun while we're at it. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, as always, for coming on. You guys are freaking fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything that you guys want to leave the 90 people in the chat with, either just a reminder of where you guys are at or something that you have going on that you want to remind people, an event coming up, anything like that?
All right. Well, I'll jump in. Crypto Noble on YouTube. I minted one of Keep's NFTs to try to win a vest. So I'll let that.
Side note, that should have just already been in your wallet. You should have never paid for that, but thank you.
Right. And then, I work for Emerging Asset Group. We got tokens that go on with gold and water. So we're actually, we're not excited about what's happening in the world, but we're excited about the idea of commodities on the blockchain.
Yeah, for sure. Tim, what you got?
Yeah, I would say, follow me over on Investing Bros on YouTube, and then on Twitter, at Tims_TA. I just want to express to people, this is a golden opportunity to be investing in your education. Whether you see CryptoKeeper here, Bill Noble, myself, anyone else comes on the show, even though we talk about what we're seeing, we are constantly day in and day out pouring into ourselves, watching other people, reading more articles because we want to keep growing. Just because you maybe are not in front of a camera doesn't mean that you should not be trying to invest. Something I love that they always say on this show, they say, what's the exact expression, but it's like trust,
question everything, trust
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? To be honest, that includes us. It's awesome that you guys listen to us and you get to hear our takes on how we're processing the market. But I hope the way you're doing that is you're listening to things we're saying and then playing it out in your brain and saying, does this actually make sense?
Yeah.
How can I invest based off of this? Do not just blindly choose one of us and say, I'm going to blindly follow what they say. Learn this for yourself. Like and subscribe to as many crypto YouTube channels as you can, because we need to communicate to YouTube and the powers that be that crypto is here to stay. Make sure that you guys are doing those in your own life. And if you are, you're going to be a very, very wealthy human, not only financially, but mentally as well in the next coming years.
Dude, I appreciate that, Tim. You couldn't be more on point. Invest in yourself. That's what you're doing here. That's what you're doing in Investing Bros. That's what you're doing on Crypto Noble. So make sure you subscribe to all three channels. Hit the bell notifications as well. Smash that like if you haven't already. Crypto fam, we love you. You could be anywhere today on a beautiful Monday afternoon, but you're here with Debate Crypto. Again, gentlemen, thank you for coming on. And Crypto fam, just remember, question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. We will see you soon.